Howdy, folks, and welcome to another day in the Milky Way. And tonight we got a great show because we're featuring our guest starring host, Lucky Stone, and his mindset that he had this week, and our resident scientist, Dalibor Suchy. Thank you both for being on.
Pleasure to be here.
Lucky, what I want to ask you about what made you think of this topic that we're talking about tonight? Why do bad things happen to good people?
Oh, it's all about, we have in our lives, we run into bad people, run into good people, and why do good people have bad things happen to them, and why do bad things happen to good people? Why do good things happen for bad people? That back and forth. And then I got to thinking about it. It's just like, is it just our perspective? Because honestly, a bad person, what makes them so bad? And, they're succeeding, but is it only our perspective because they're so successful? Is it our jealousy? Is it overshadowing everything? Or is it simply that from our perspective, the acts that they're doing to get ahead, we see it hurts other people, but maybe it's helping it's all our perspective thing. And I've been going around and around about what is good, what is bad, and who is good and who is bad. And, the people near me, of course, are all the good guys. And then if they don't succeed, well, that's terrible. But sometimes our success depends on us. And that you can see someone who we think is bad, they're succeeding. If we just stop, maybe we can learn something from them. Or not.
This is true. And now you put out a lot of videos, a lot of good videos. So we're gonna listen to what started this whole discussion right now. And this, if you don't know, everybody, this is Lucky, and he's got his channel out here, and you got quite a. Oh, just go back here like this, and you got quite a number of videos. I mean, it goes on and on and on and on. So go over there, and if you haven't subscribed, go over there and subscribe. Your videos are short. They're getting a lot of views and a lot of traction. Okay, so this is the one we're going to listen to.
Why do bad things happen to good people? Well, if you know a good person, you see them treated badly, it might be your time to step up. It might be your opportunity to step in and help them. And if you're a good person and you're treated badly, it might be your chance to step up for yourself and ask for help. Because some of the best people I know, everyone trusts them, but they trust so few people. In living life, we have to trust more people, and we have to find people we truly can trust. So is this your opportunity to trust others? Like this, hate this. What's next?
There we go. So good video. Nice, short, and to the point. It felt heartfelt too. Trust. Is being good to somebody all about trust then?
Well, in my opinion, trust has nothing to do with being good. Being trustworthy has something to do with being good. Like they say, respect is automatic. You give that automatically to everybody whom you don't know, right? Whereas trust, that has to be earned, unfortunately, unless you know the person in advance. But as to the whole good, bad dichotomy, that ultimately comes down to a value judgment. And you're basing a person's goodness or badness based on your own moral values, right? Because ultimately you judge other people based on yourself. Like, would I do this? Would I do that? Or would I conduct myself this way? So why did he do this, right? That's the kind of very few people actually compare the actions of other people or even their own to something like, I don't know, biblical standards or the law or whatever. It's pretty much all feelings based. It's all based on emotion. So
It
it is difficult. It's difficult to really give an objective definition of what is good. My definition of what is good, I would say, is that which benefits the most amount of the human race. Right? That, even though that's kind of vague, right? Because
yeah, kind of big. But Max Vision's in the house. Hey, Max.
How are you doing, guys? Good to see you.
Yeah, tonight we're talking about why do bad things happen to good people. But I want to make a comment with Dalibor, and then Max, think about that for a second, and then we'll get right to you. Dalibor, the thing is you were talking about the trust and how people's actions are, but I know that I treat somebody worse when I don't trust them or I don't know them. I kind of am a bad person that way. I do. I would be the bad person. So there you go. Lucky, what do you think on that?
I'm the person everyone comes to. I'm the person most people trust. So I find myself in really weird situations where I'm in conversations with people and they're complaining about other people, complaining about management, and putting me in strange places, and all I can do is be ears to hear, and then maybe pick up the football and try to help them. But I can't, of course, I can't out them. I can't use them as an example. I have to use the collective. It's a balancing act, because I have one thing is I have seniority. I'm not a manager, but I have more seniority than a lot of the managers who are supposed to be my supervisors. So. And that's what makes me like, I actually wield a lot of power without actually being a manager or supervisor. And that's what makes me a good person, because I'm the one who tries to be the champion of other people, but I get you into weird situations. And that's what I got thinking about that, is maybe it's my time to step up and help others. And how do I do that?
Well, Max, why do bad things happen to good people?
I don't know. I would say karmically they bring it upon themselves, possibly, unless it's something completely out of their control. But I think people trip themselves up when they act badly. But then again, there's just randomness of the universe, you know. I'm sure nobody expects, you know, a big ball of ice from a plane to fall on their heads, but you know, every once in a while it does happen.
This is true. Yeah, just as true. But see, I look at the world around us, and I don't know if you guys have seen some of these videos lately where these gangs or criminals are going to people's houses and they're pretending to be the delivery guy, and they're holding a box. They knock on the door, you know, and somebody comes to the door. I need a signature, and because we are good, trusting people, we open the door. And then they push their way in, and two other guys come around from the back of the house or the corner or something, and they rob the house while you're in it. And we're good people. We're gonna open the door. Hey, the one where the lady she was pretending to be pregnant or a heat stroke or something. She's saying, "Help me! I need some water." Some call 911 or whatever, and a guy comes. He's like coming on. Are you okay, lady? Yeah. And then as soon as he walks outside the door, another guy comes around the corner and bangs in the house, and the lady gets up.
Well,
just pretending.
What I would say to this is, these people that this happens to were targeted because they appear to be wealthy, right? They convey the impression of being wealthy by the type of house that they live in, the decor. In other words, they made an effort to look like they have more money than they really do have. In other words, they made an effort to put their to put the people in their surroundings down, right, by raising themselves up.
Yeah.
So that's what they get.
Yeah. This is true. And Nina, she says there is no bad, just lessons. And Lucky, I think you said something like that too, in one of your. You were saying something about that too. It's just lessons, and because of the lessons, you might get hurt or destroyed or killed or.
Yeah, because if you arouse envy in other people, well, that's your fault. You shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be arousing envy in other people by putting them down, by making yourself look better than them, right?
Yeah. What about just selling a high ticket item online that you're trying to sell on eBay, right? But that shows that you've got a lot of money. So, somebody will come by and say, oh, yeah, I want to buy that, and bring a few friends and home invade you,
Yeah,
get the high ticket item and whatever else they can.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of times those high ticket items are just owned by the bank. That's all. They really are. I mean, how many people out there to buy a brand new car and pay cash nowadays? Not a whole lot. They're all, everybody owes. They owe. You get your car stole, you better have insurance because you don't own it. The bank owns it, et cetera, et cetera. Once you're driving a jalopy, and then of course nobody wants to steal it if you're driving a, broken down old car that's smoking pretty good. So
that's the thing, though. That's I would prefer an older car to a new car because new cars are just so computerized. They're trash.
Yes.
Well, something from the 90s, if you can get something from the 90s that's in good condition, that the parts are relatively easy to get, you can work with, hopefully you have an honest mechanic, which I don't think there are too many of those, but the parts are easy to get because, I know because I do my own repairs to my own car, and I know that I replaced the alternator. Cost me maybe over $100. Well, I had a problem. I didn't pass the inspection to do a few things, and then the alternator crapped out again because for some reason you buy a used alternator, they crap out after a year or two anyways. It cost me $300 because they used the exact same alternator. They claimed it cost almost twice as much, and then the labor. So it cost me almost 3 or 4 times as much for them to do it. But again, the car won't move without the alternator, so they kind of got me by the short hairs. But that's what I told them. I said, I know for a fact it is 2 bolts to change that out. It's an easy thing. Yes, but it won't move without it. So
Yeah.
And I'm like, but this means that I can't trust you. You know that, right?
Yeah, that ties in with the whole wisdom or lack thereof of people who take out these huge loans to buy expensive cars just so they can, create some kind of an impression, right? To pick up chicks, quote unquote, or whatever. Well, that's very shallow, and that's also very short-sighted because you instantly become a magnet for cops, right? Who want to give you tickets. You become a magnet for all kinds of scammers, people who want to follow you home after you visit the ATM so they could rob you, and what for? Why the added expense when you get the same service from a car that's, say, 20 years old and doesn't have brand name appeal, right? It's just an ego thing. Like, what the hell do you need that for? And besides, as somebody who has had a car stolen, I don't really see that as a good investment. And I usually don't buy something something that expensive as a car that I don't expect to sell down the line for more money, right?
Yeah, car you're going to take, no matter what you do, it seems like until it gets to a certain point, it's going to
So that's why the car I drive, I bought that like 6 years ago, and even back then it was like 10 years old. Paid 3,000 euros for it, and it still serves me well. I don't see a reason why I should change it.
Yep. Yeah. No, I agree. No, that's the thing. But they got you coming and going because the advertisements are always buy a new car. Oh, we can't fix that. It's too old. We can't even get parts for it. Yeah, whatever. Come on.
That's I don't think that's not possible. The parts are easy to get if you know, and unless you get a BMW or an Audi or something stupid like that, Toyota, Honda, Ford, I know for
Nissan.
a fact you can get parts. Yeah, Nissan, you can get parts for those.
That's why I drive a Nissan.
So those parts are, and they're in. Some of them are interchangeable because Ford and Nissan. Or is it Mazda? It doesn't matter. Some of those parts, they were interchangeable, so it doesn't really matter. Even Toyota was in some group with another company. It might have been Nissan. Who knows? But again, the parts, they're just plug and play a lot of times if you know what you're doing. Although these cars now, I mean, I saw I don't know how old this car was. It looked like a piece of garbage, but it drove by me and I said, oh my God, it has a dash computer. How old is that car? Because all my cars are about over 10, 12 years old. You know, my newest car is 2012 and I love it. You know, it's in great shape. But again, it doesn't have a dash computer. But, you know,
Well, in 20 years, when that dash computer goes out, they're not going to find it. They're not going to make it. That car will be just jumping.
Well, it'll become obsolete like the phones, right? The operating system will be obsolete, won't interface with the rest of the systems out there. So you'll have to be obsolete. I have to buy a new phone for my wife because it's obsolete now. You know?
What kind? Was it an Android?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, that's hackable. You can put the right software on that and make it not obsolete. But again, if you don't do it right, you brick it. It's no good. But you know, it's a pain in the ass. Honestly, unless you know someone, it's a real pain in the ass to get an old phone up and running. My new phone died, so I grabbed my old phone, which was acting up. Mm-hmm. It's been acting perfect the last couple of days. I had because our last phone had insurance on it. It was expensive. I was an idiot, but I had to send it back, so I had no phone. I'm like, well, I'll just use the old phone. I'll just deal with it. It has been acting perfect, and like, what's going on? It doesn't have the new software updates, but again, maybe that's why it's working now, because it doesn't have the new software update. I had to go back one.
Yeah,
could be.
Yeah, this is true.
Well, my son is also a hacker, so it doesn't matter. So I go back to my son, I go, yeah, my phone's acting up. Can we go back to the last build? He goes, absolutely. Within 5 minutes, we got the last build on it. And although in some of the software doesn't work, some of the apps, but I don't need the apps. I just need the phone text, phone, and in the map. And the map is always the map. They always want you to watch you, so the maps are always working for everyone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, then as we're talking about this, the bad people. What about the bad people? The guys that are charging you at that fix-it place for the $300 alternator that is only like $100.
Who does that video? Who's gonna do that video?
Yeah, I know. And here's this. Oh, wait a minute. I think I forgot to hit the other button. Dang it, or we wouldn't have any sound. Forgot to hit the sound part. Sorry. There we go. And so now, can we be happy for bad people when good things happen to them? Like the guy fixing your car getting $300.
Things happen to bad people. Well, it might be that bad person is there to help you learn and to teach you a lesson in how to get good things in your life. So bad people tend to have the spotlight on them. So they might be teaching you, and it might be your opportunity, rather than resenting them for having good things happen to them and them being a bad person. It might be your chance to take the lessons from that bad person and to bring it into you, the good person. Think about it. Like this, hate this. What's next?
So,
well stated.
Yeah, don't be a doormat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No,
and if the only lesson is, don't associate with bad people, right? Like when I moved to Czech Republic, I had scores and scores of family, right? I didn't really know any of these people. I assumed that they were going to be on my side. But there was one particular family member that was kind of a more of an asshole than anything else. And when you see somebody treating other people very indecently and unethically and immorally, and you just assume that because you're a family member that it's not going to happen to you. Then when it does happen to you, you have only yourself to blame. In other words, if you see somebody behaving immorally to somebody else, no, you don't associate with them. No.
Yeah. Well, I know I commented on there and saying, well, maybe I should be the bad person so I can teach everybody a lesson, and I'll end up a lot of good stuff.
Well, but the role of teacher is different, right?
Well, I mean, in a way, it's kind of silly, but you know how that goes. Some of the most evil, rotten people we think we know, like we'll just put government, for instance, they end up richer than snot, and they're doing it, and we're supporting that.
Sure, the top 1%, in the last 10 years, the top 1% made 40 trillion extra dollars, right?
Mhm.
In terms of net worth, 40 trillion. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter what country you're in.
And
Max,
since
and Dalibor, you're in other countries, and it's the same there too, isn't it?
yeah, it is, and because the entire world's economy is basically connected, but it's also at the same time a zero-sum game. So where do these people get all this money from? Well, they got it from us. That's why I'm saying, don't support your enemies. Don't do business with companies that are unethical. Like, I don't use Microsoft products. With very few exceptions, I do not use any Microsoft products. I don't use Windows. I don't use Amazon. That's why, and when Christmas comes around, I prefer to buy used items from eBay because at least I'm buying it from a loser just like myself. Instead of supporting some super rich mega corporation, I'm supporting somebody who's like me.
Yeah, I agree. Max, what do you think on this?
I don't know. I just keep thinking of the karma aspect of it for people. If it's self-imposed, or if it's just an energetic thing, or is it divine intervention? I don't know.
Yeah, you don't know how far back the hands of karma extend. Maybe you did something 3 lifetimes ago that you're just paying for. When that block of ice lands on you from an airplane.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah.
Well, Lucky, you're more in touch with the spirits than anybody. And is that karma, what we're talking about, the karma thing, does that have play any relevance to it?
Who am I to say? I don't know. Honestly, karma is all about what other people come up with. I don't play the karma game. I live this life. This is my life.
Okay.
Well, what about karma in this life? Do you build up and exchange karma in this life?
I don't think so. I think basically it's all a perspective issue. I mean, what is rich? Who is rich? I mean, just because these Uber guys have millions of dollars, what do they do with it? Well,
I do believe karma is self-imposed in many aspects.
And again, and also karma is a definition. It's a word that defined by the person, by the perspective. Yes, it has a dictionary definition, but a lot of the words we use are more defined by us. And for me, I'm the guy who basically I interact with everybody, and never even good, bad. It all comes down to how much I trust them or in the situation. It's situation awareness, and maybe I live in karma every day and I just don't realize it. But for me,
what about those who manifest?
Word.
Well, like you think of those who manifest positivity in their lives, or manifest their reality, or create.
I believe that 100% that I do that. Okay. Everyone who has got bad in your life, it's you meant, and that's a terrible thing to say.
Could
my wife having cancer.
And
then it's basically what you do in life. I mean, I walk 10,000 steps a day, and I am always active, and it keeps I stopped for a while, and I became depressed, anxious, and just out of my mind, and I realized, holy shit. When I used to walk every day, 10,000 steps, it's a lot. It's an hour and a half plus of walking. But I felt much better back then. But I haven't been doing that in about a year, and I feel so anxious, so depressed. So where does anxiety and depression come from? Because I stopped acting. I stopped doing stuff. And it is, a lot of the stuff that happens in our life is self-imposed. Some things are out of control. But again, even if it's out of our control, our perspective changes how much it affects us and what we can do with it. But again, karma, I don't know. I don't care.
Well, then you think we signed up for, the tragedies in our, put it that way, the tragedies in our lives as like a soul contract coming into this being?
Yes and no. I believe before we were our lives, we were signing up for a soul contract, and they go this. But it was more like a video game. This is what we wanted. Our whole life. It's just a simulation, and there are things that are presented to us. But again, when it gets too much, it's our choice to say, "I don't want to do this anymore. I need some time off," and our life will become easier. But again, you have to have the power in your head to actually manifest that, and a lot of people don't. A lot of people are, people around me, they don't understand that because how come this happens so much? How come you used to be so lucky? How does all this good stuff happen for you? I'm like, because I will it. Of course, I also have 4 or 5 authors to things, just to keep things straight. But that's just me. I write down notes to myself. Okay, I will positive this will work out. Like my car. I got into a car accident, T-bone. My car was destroyed. I had 1 week to find a new car, and I found one, and I brought it to the garage, and the garage says this is the best immaculate 12-year-old car I've ever seen. You got a good deal. How that happened? It's because I willed it. We traveled.
It's also because
hour.
it's got something to do with the fact that you call yourself lucky, right? Because names and labels. Because lucky, that's a label, right? Labels have a big effect. It's just like the classical rice experiment I keep going back to. If you label a batch of rice good and a batch of rice bad, well, the bad rice is going to grow crooked and moldy, but the good rice is going to grow nice and straight and healthy.
Well, the problem you have is that Lucky's the name of my channel. The Lucky was, I had a white cat who was named Lucky, which was going to be my channel. And the cat ran away, and I had nothing left. So I just did my own. I became the channel. Rather than changing the name of the channel, I became the cat's name. I guess maybe I just manifested myself that I became Lucky Cat because the cat left, and the cat's at the neighbor's house. He's happy, and that's why my wife says to me, "Why do you keep visiting that cat? He hates us." I'm like, "No, he loves me. He just hates this house. He decided to get out." And she's like, "Well, why do you keep doing this?" I'm like, "I want him to be happy, and he's happy, and I'm happy. This is how. And so this is. I guess that's my karma. That's the thing is that I could easily tell the neighbor, this is my effing cat. You can't have him anymore. Take him back." And they've acknowledged that he's my cat and that they appreciate him being there. But it's a weird situation, and they're very kind. But after 2 years, he's their cat now.
Cats are so funny.
Well, that's the thing. Maybe that cat came into your life so that you could get the name, because now everybody knows you by Lucky. That's like your extra persona.
It's my number too. Yeah, it's my pen name. It's became
pen
me.
Name. Exactly, your pen name. And but you put off that persona though. You're cheery. You're good. I mean. Yeah, I turn to your channel and listen to you because I know that I'm going to feel better when I get done. There you go.
I have always been the person that people come to for everything, and I've always been. And sometimes because I don't know what to say, I say nothing, and they say, "Oh, this guy's a great listener." No, I listen to every word, and then I repeat back what they say, because I'm an introvert and I don't like talking. Which I have a YouTube channel. It doesn't make any sense, right? But that's what happens, and that's how I learned so much about how to live is by seeing through other people and their trauma and their sadness and their stories.
Yeah, a lot of people. That's all people want is somebody to listen to them. I mean, most people are good people. 99% of the people are really good people at heart.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, totally. From even more, I would say 99.9% of all people are good. They're not geographically confined to any location. You can't draw an oval on a map and say, okay, all the good people live inside this oval, all the bad people live outside of it. No, you can't.
But I'm going to throw a wrench into that. But 99.9% of people will do bad things.
because of stupidity, because they don't realize the ramifications.
Yeah.
Stupidity is one of the forms of evil. Don't forget. Some have theorized that it's the highest form of evil is stupidity.
Hmm. Yeah. Well,
Gross negligence. Yeah.
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 Or anger, hate. People good. I've seen good people do bad things because they had hate in their heart, or they got shafted, so they wanted to retaliate, even though those were nice people. Like I said, I think everybody. I know that there's a lot of people who've done bad things. I think every one of us could probably say we've done something bad in our lives or bad to somebody else that we probably regret. Why do we do that? We can't be good all the time, I guess. And right? I don't know. It's my thoughts on it.
Being evil is fun and it's easy, and
There you go.
sometimes when people are just everyone's coming to you with their problems, eventually you just go, this is ridiculous. What's wrong with you? What the hell is wrong with you? The same problem over and over again. And by not listening and being kind to them, you become a bad person, you know? Some acts, you have to be evil sometimes just to get your own space. What's in marriage, you know, when your wife stops talking to you, that's supposed to be a punishment, but sometimes it's a blessing for a while, you know, your wife is punishing you by not talking to you, and you're like, oh, thank God I have some
Never
peace.
just start a fight with your wife just to have some silence for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, you're right. I mean, I remember my dad had selective hearing.
Oh, yeah.
He could hear me doing something bad, well, you know, but my mother could yell at him and he'd go, "What?"
Yeah. Oh, my dad could hear you touch the thermostat. I don't know how he did that.
I told you not to do that.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I mean, it's a perspective thing, because back in the day, when I was in my teens, my mother would buy the shots, because rather than have the vet come, which was expensive to have them give a shot to all the horses. We had 6, 7 horses at the time. We were also boarding horses. So, and then we had a couple horses who were absolutely insane horses. And my mother was terrified of giving them shots because, you know, you'd have to hold the horse and have someone give the shot. So me and my infinite wisdom said, wait, we have a horse where I know that I gave him a shot without tying him up, and he's much better off. So I walk over the horse, start patting him, feeding him, and out of the other hand, give the horse the shot. Horse had no idea. And I told my mother, yeah, the border horses, you know, I gave them the shots. And she goes, why the hell would you do that? That's dangerous. And I'm like, I explained to her, you know, like King, who was the name of the horse, sometimes by putting the lead on them and holding them, they know something's coming.
Yeah.
But if you come up to them in a social, because some horses, you know, what do you want? What do you got for me? You know, and you give them a little bit of carrot or a treat, especially carrots or sugar. And they're paying attention to the food. You give them the shot in the neck, and worse, the ass. I hate giving them shots in the butt, but get the shot in the butt. That's more tricky. But I can do that too. But actually, the butt is easier because it's all muscle. But
it's all fleshy,
yeah. Problem is getting back there without them seeing you. Give them the neck, because the neck they can't really see that, but the butt, they go, "What the hell are you doing back there?"
No, yeah, I totally agree with that, because I used to be the local farrier guy when I lived in Wisconsin, and I would go and trim people's horses. And every time I'd go and trim, they'd be like, "Oh, you got that horse tied up really good. Can you give them the, you know, the wormer, you know?" And the wormer, you know how that goes. You get the paste and the tube, and it's like a big thing, and you gotta put it in their mouth and squeeze it down their throat. And they're like, "Oh, we can't hold that horse. No way," you know. So I get the thing and I just hold the lead rope, and I come right up and stick it in their mouth, and it's in there so fast. They're like, "Holy cow, you did it already?" "Yep, it's empty. There you go." And they're like, "Move it all." I'm like, "Yeah, he didn't know it was coming." You know, they won't make a big deal.
Sometimes that flavor too.
Like, whatever, it's all gone.
We had the apple flavor ones, I believe. They were like, you know, or we also give them an apple and give them the horse. Wormer was actually was a whole presentation. It was a whole presentation, because when your horse doesn't want to be wormed and they go up, when a horse goes up, it's like this is 12 feet in the air. That thing's head's in the 12 feet in the air. I did have a stud used to do that. Used to, he was also funny like that because he thought that people want him to perform. So people would come on the camera, take a picture of him, and he goes, "Oh, time to perform," and he'd stand up. Of course, the people got the camera ready to take a picture. All you can see the horse's belly, and they look, and the horse is growing up in front of them.
Yeah.
He'd laugh and laugh because he was performing for them. But
Scare the hell out of them. Yeah.
that was a long time ago. Those stories. Oh, that horse.
Got a big old scar on my lip. This side? This side. Yeah, here. I got a big old, you can't probably see it, but I got a big old scar on my lip because of a stud horse doing that. Well, I was going to trim the horse, and I had to take him out of the pen, and he's a stud horse, and the little old lady that owned him, she's like, "Oh, I feed him lots of grain. Look how good he looks." And I'm like, he's wild. And so I went in there and I grabbed him. I had to take him out, tie him up, and then of course he reared up and he's doing the thing like you're talking about, and he come down with one of them hooves and hit me. And luckily he didn't break my teeth out, but he hit me so hard in the mouth he ripped my lip right open, and I kind of taped it back together because I didn't have insurance or nothing, and I couldn't see to put the stitches in there very good, so I taped it up best I could. And boy, that was the worst thing, man. It took like 2 months to get it because you're always moving your mouth,
Mm-hmm.
and
Wow.
and it
Those
took forever to heal.
cuts, the mouth is bad because you're eating and the bacteria from your food and I slashed my hand open back when I didn't have insurance. That's when I used super glue. I super glued
duct tape
because I had heard about that they use super glue rather than stitches. So I said, "Okay, fine, super glue. I can't afford to go to the hospital with this."
It works. It works. Oh man, the worst one was I was trimming a horse and I'm bent over like this, and I'm holding the hoof. There's a front hoof, or something like it was a front hoof, and that horse whipped his foot out of my hands so fast. And then he backed up, and when that hoof came down, it hit me in the back of the head.
Oh boy!
Knocked me to the ground and knocked me clean out.
Wow,
man, I didn't even know what happened. The next thing you know, I'm laying on the ground. I'm like, what the fudge? But it was so fast. They can move so fast. This blows your mind. But yeah, and I'm a good person, and bad things were happening to me.
Yeah.
I treated those horses nice too. There was other guys they would have that would come in and beat the horses, to make them stand still, and those horses would just shake and sweat, and I would come in and people were like, "Boy, you handle them they're so nice. I like the way you do it."
Yeah, see, I wouldn't want to be kicked by horses, so I'm smart enough just to stay away from horses. That works for me.
Same here.
Haven't had a problem yet,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that's part of the whole karma thing, like putting yourself into situations where you're possibly going to get hurt. Well, I don't know that that's karma, but the more chances you put yourself at risk, the more chances of something happening. So.
Well, exactly, but I needed, it's a job, and I knew how to trim, and I needed the money. It was good. It was a good money at the time. I mean, I think I got $15 a head, and there was never a shortage of horses to trim. But
well, you may think that that's a dangerous job, but I'm pretty sure that if you look into it, statistically, driving is way more dangerous.
Crab fishing.
Yeah, well, just driving is way more dangerous. And people underestimate it, yet they do it all the time. Yet you have huge amounts of personal injuries and deaths that result from driving accidents.
Yep.
Yeah.
I used to drive cab for 5 years. I gave it up and never really wanted to drive again. From all the crap I see on the road,
Wow.
Yeah, people are bad drivers, not that you don't make the occasional mistake, but when you compound that by all the other people on the road making mistakes, and you're out there for 8-12 hours, you're taking your chances, Yeah,
I was a traveling salesman for about 4 years, and saw a lot of road, and so a lot of accidents. And the lesson learned here is that most of those accidents involve like either a car and a pedestrian, a car and a motorcycle, and a car and a bicycle. And it's usually the car that wins. So, the lesson here being that if you're on the road, you should be in a car, I guess.
Yeah, cars against a bicycle is just not. You're not winning.
Yeah,
Speaking
or even a motorcycle.
Speaking of winning, everybody, you can get your nice new Milky Way Soul Tribe shirt, just like I got on. They'll come in a nice little package, just like this.
Nice.
You go over to Nita's channel, look at her merch, and they're nice and cheap. They're like $20, and you can get yours today. A limited time offer before she takes them down. And get the Milky Way Soul Tribe shirt. And it can be yours for a mere $20. They are $19 and some cents. So there you go. You got to get one of these. I got a mug yesterday or today. It's sitting over there. I should have brought it over here. But anyway, I got a mug. There's all kinds of different shirts, and she might even put up a hoodie here soon. But yeah, here's the link. Go get yours today. I had to put my plug in there, because it's a limited time. Limited time, everybody. Order your Milky Way Soul Tribe shirt. Okay. Right there. She's got the link in the thing, and there's the link in the description below too. And Max, why did you round this up? Because I know you're going to be going. You got class tonight, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Half an hour.
Mm-hmm.
I got some time.
Oh, you got some time. Okay, yeah. But anyway, okay, then we do got some time. Oh man, you want to get a little earlier so you get ready. I know that.
Yeah, just want to pop off for 1 second and go get a drink. I'll be right back.
Okay, with that. Okay, good deal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, between you two, then what is the lesson? Do we do this to other people to teach them lessons without knowing it? Are we putting out the lessons being mean to people without thinking?
Probably, if we act without intention, if we act reflexively and not intentionally, then we're coming from that spontaneous space where anything is possible. Where you're really introducing an element of randomness into it. We're just reacting spontaneously instead of with forethought. That's why most arguments happen physically, right? With people talking to each other. Rarely does it happen via text. Rarely. Because when you have text, you have enough time to think it over. Say it a bit more elegantly or a bit more gently, right?
You mean texting?
Yeah.
Texting?
Yeah.
Oh, people say awful things when they text or write that stuff. They're not even the same person.
Well, not in my personal experience.
Oh, I mean, have you seen what people write in comments or like?
Oh, that, yeah.
Or even when they text me, they'll say
that's
things.
Because the comments are kind of anonymous, right? Because
they're just, I don't know. I think it's the opposite because they may think about it and say things in a weird way because they don't have to say it to your face.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that's the anonymity aspect of it, and that also ties in with, life being better in small villages as opposed to a big city because it's the anonymity that brings about the increased crime and generally low quality of life, right? The optimum living conditions are to be experienced in a city of about 10,000 people. That's what the latest research indicates.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Lucky. What do you think on that?
We're always teaching everybody. Every minute we do something. Either people are learning from what our successes are, or they're learning what they have to avoid because what we've done and screwed up. So that we teaching. A lot of us need to learn by doing. But we can still learn from others by seeing what they've done and either succeed or failure. Our failure tends to teach a lot of people a lot of things. Mm-hmm. Well, our successes, they're more likely to try, but our failures, unless they're crazy people like me. It's like, wait, I can do that better and try it again. That's one of my things. Is like when I see someone fail, I want to get involved and say, maybe there's a way of fixing this. Maybe there's a way of doing it better. But that's just me. But yeah, we teach others by our successes and our failures. Just because we're always teaching, our lessons are come out all the time whenever we interact with people who trust us.
Yeah.
Good
So
point.
well, in this new world we're living in, there's a lot of. I don't want to point the finger at everybody, but we know there's a lot of immigrants coming in, and a lot of them they're not so good, and it's creating a lot of crime, especially in the cities. So if you can get out of the cities, but the thing is
the problem with this is it's not immigrants, it's the illegal immigrants.
the illegal. Okay, yes,
Mhm.
yes.
The problem with the government uses to put the word immigrant with the illegals, making the same
Yeah,
thing.
they conflate
No.
the two.
That is a big bunch of malarkey, because the legal immigrants hate the illegal immigrants, because these legal guys, they're still working their butts off to become in this country. They've done what they can. They've done a lot.
Paid
It's
a lot
the
of money.
illegals who get a buy, because when they get illegal and they get a wash, they get a pass. They realize it doesn't really matter. I can do anything I want, and then they get under the table. The Republicans profit because they get cheap labor. The Democrats profit because they get votes. Everyone wins with the illegals, no matter which either side says. So
Well, the
politicians
government's skimming the
always win.
welfare money too. They're skimming the welfare money and using people
Yeah,
for work
well,
labor, and
ultimately, that welfare money ends up back in the economy anyway. But yeah, I totally hear you because as many of you know, I lived in the United States as an immigrant for the first half of my life, and an immigrant from Czechoslovakia. So I was also even back then aware of the problem of illegal immigration, and the fact that no, we didn't have it easy at all, because we had to. Every year we had to go to the INS, stand in line, get the passport thing renewed or whatever. It was a hassle. It was not easy. And then, when it came time to apply for citizenship, they told me, well, you can't apply for citizenship until you turn 21 or whatever. First it was 18, and then it was 21. So I applied for citizenship at 18, was turned down, applied for citizenship at 21, and I got it. So... yeah, and as soon as I got it, I left the country. That's karma, right?
Yes. But does the people here, because most people we were talking about are good people, and you got legal immigrants who are taking advantage of the system by getting this free housing and money and all. Well, then they had nothing to do. And now I'm sure a lot of them are saying, hey, look at, I can get that guy to open the door. I can just walk up in the parking lot and take that guy's groceries or his car keys and drive away. And because they are good people, they're not going to do much.
Well, see,
get out of the way.
In the case of my family, we didn't come there looking for any such thing like opportunities. No, we didn't come to the United States looking for opportunity. We came there looking for a safe refuge from communism, because we were persecuted under communism. And, for that, I'm extremely grateful to the United States for providing me with safe haven from that horrible scourge. So, but nevertheless, we took advantage of the situation in the best possible way by working hard, saving up as much money, and learning English as best as we could. Because that one thing, that one takeaway has proven for me to be... the best thing that America ever gave me was the knowledge of the English language that I have to this very day, and that I'll never lose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, and I'm not, I did misspeak about that. I didn't mean that immigrants. I meant the illegals that are coming over.
Well, see, that's the thing. Yeah, when somebody comes there illegally and they violate the laws, well, they're already illegal, right? They're already doing it to get something out of this, to beat the system. And naturally, they don't have the same, they don't hold the country, they don't hold that country in the same regard as they do their own. In fact, they look down on it. because they're like, well, look at these chumps, right? I can just waltz in here, get welfare, get free housing, free this and that and the other thing, and they'll just give it to me.
Yeah.
You know, even though they secretly hate that country.
Yeah.
You know, back in the 17 or 1800s, it was no big deal. Anybody could move anywhere. You didn't even have passports because you didn't have such a thing as benefits. Anybody could move anywhere, but you didn't have any benefits, so nobody really cared.
Yeah.
Because you weren't costing the system anything. But nowadays, the Overton window has moved to the left by a lot. Everything's more and more controlled by the government. You have things like Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, whatever, taxes to worry about, so subsidies. So as a result, citizenship or residency in a country usually involves getting something from the government, except that, you know, in a lot of these instances, a lot of these people come into the country, never worked a day in their life, yet they get to collect unemployment, which somebody like in this country where I live, Germany, I can't qualify. Even if I worked an 8-hour a day job for the last 20 years, I would never qualify for unemployment because I own more than one residential house. You know, so that's kind of unfair because that's the unemployment and welfare system's policy to prevent itself from being drained, even by legitimate users of that system. So, because why? Because they want to give it to the illegal. Why? For the same reason that Lucky said. Because the left wants them because they're voters, and the right wants them because they're going to be taxpayers and cheap labor.
Yeah, that's true. Everybody wins.
Mm-hmm. Except
for
the
the
ordinary
taxpayer.
citizen.
Go ahead, Max.
Yeah, except for the taxpayer, they lose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they don't care about us because they got a new taxpayer base. When those illegals have kids, they will be citizens at that point because they're across the border already, and they'll have a whole new base of taxpayer people in the next 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't find that worked in the UK. They just stayed on welfare, generational welfare.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Only 2% or so worked. So it doesn't really add to the tax base either. It just adds mostly to the voter base. And it kind of destroys the economy.
yeah. Well, and that's true. If you see, well, I'm sure all of us, we see our parents working and their parents working, and then we want to emulate those, our parents. You know, you don't go and say, yeah, my father worked really hard, my mother worked really hard, and they took care of us. And you know what? I want to be on welfare the rest of my life.
If you want to do that now, you're a right-wing extremist.
You
If you
know,
want to work hard and be on time and be healthy, you're a right-wing extremist.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Oh. But yeah. Good night, Grandpa Brian. He's in the bed. But yeah, thank you for being here. But that's but yeah, you know, I try to do the right things and work hard. And what am I? I'm an extremist.
Yep.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
Well, you know, you want to support the country, and they'll tax you to do that, but you're also the number one hated person in the country.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I just, you know, people are torn what to do. I watched a video the other day, and
I say we all stop paying our taxes. Unfortunately, it's not possible for a lot of people, but if enough people did it, just stop paying your taxes.
Because I would say that the governments of this world have such disdain for the working class or for the ordinary people that it defies understanding. I mean, they hate us so bad, it's not even funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched a video the other day about some thing in Los Angeles where the governor wants to clean up the streets with all the homeless people. They're going to put them in these apartment buildings, and you know, the lady's saying, you know, those apartments are like $6,000 a month, and you know, I'm working 2 jobs and I can't afford one. But if you're homeless and you don't have anything, or you're a drug addict, you can get one for free.
Yeah. Plus, these new illegal immigrants, see, they're used to living in very poor conditions. So, you know, you give them a box to live with a light, and
Yeah.
food, and they'll do anything you want pretty much. It's way better than what they came from. So,
Yeah. Yeah, well, and that's the thing is if you give them an apartment and they give them some nice things, they're only going to ruin it because
Mhm.
that's not who they are. That's why they're on the streets.
Yeah,
mean,
we're having problems with feces in the washing machines now in our building.
Really,
Yeah,
in your building?
yeah.
Oh man, what kind of homeless people you got living around there? See,
They're not homeless. They're migrants.
oh
They're
my
illegal
God,
immigrants. They're just
they don't know what a washing machine's for.
apparently it's for putting your crap in.
Literally.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
Mhm.
oh my gosh,
That is a problem with people get something for free, they never appreciate it. That's one of the big things is that
Mhm.
all
Right.
my life, you give something to someone, you're being generous, give it to them, they never appreciate it. But you make them work for it, and they might resent you a little bit, but they'll appreciate that thing very much.
Mhm.
And that's just how it is, It's a weird thing. It's a weird dynamic that if someone has to work for something, then they appreciate it. But if they don't have to work for it, they never really appreciate that much.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is true. Well, here in Germany, we have our own immigration. Now, at one point, Germany exceeded the United States in terms of immigration per capita, especially during the years 2013 to 2016, where basically the number of people collecting welfare and unemployment doubled. Except that if you follow the official statistics, it wasn't reflected anywhere, which means you can't trust the official statistics because they moved in, roughly the same amount of people from other countries, and they invited them here for like humanitarian reasons. Except that, if you really wanted to help these people, you could do so at 1/20th the cost by just keeping them in their own countries and sending them money. Why do you have to bring them here to help them?
Yeah, and most of them are not seeking asylum of political or
No.
persecution or anything. They're
With
economic migrants.
with the exception of Ukraine, where the entire, although there isn't a war going on in the entirety of the Ukraine, but if you are a male of conscription age, being anywhere in the Ukraine puts you at risk of being drafted.
Yep.
So you basically want to get out of Ukraine at any cost.
Yeah.
So that I understand, and most of the Ukrainian immigrants here, they don't really cause any problems.
Well, it's like people too. Your country is as big as a state over here.
It's as big as
And,
Wisconsin.
Yeah, exactly. And you're only moving them a little ways. It ain't like when they're moving these people out of the Sudan of Africa and importing them all the way up to Germany and then saying, well, here you go. And they're like, oh, there's no lion going to attack us tonight. How do we survive here? Where's the, I used to have a grass hut with no door. It was just, and just dig a little hole in the backyard and poop in it, kind of thing. And they bring those customs and traditions with them because they don't have electricity and running water and all that. It's all new to them. They're so far backwards, and then they don't know how to speak the language. And then you just expect them, it's a shock and awe thing to them because all of a sudden, look at all of this is like a whole different world.
Yeah, how do you expect them to get jobs when they don't speak German, right?
Exactly.
They can't.
Yeah. And by the time they do get educated, and they're probably not educated, but if you educate them and then teach them how to speak the language, and you're talking years invested and a lot of money putting them up in the meantime.
Yeah.
Is it a win situation when you finally get them taught how to do things? What can they actually do? Are they going to become engineers, or are they going to become the guy who scrapes the toilet and flips a burger? I thought.
No, the only conceivable jobs that they can do at the very start are working for their own countrymen who are already in the country, the people who speak their language who will hire them. But of course, that could be, at less than optimal conditions and for less than optimal wages.
Okay, yeah. Max, so what those illegal immigrants that are there, what are they doing? They just walking around, the government's paying them, or do they have jobs of some sort, working for money under the table?
Some of them do work, but the majority of the immigrants are all centered in buildings, segregated from basically, society. There's apparently during a fire, one of my coworkers saw a building emptied out, and it was all Nigerians,
Hmm.
and he'd never seen them on the streets. They don't really go out. They just stay in the apartment, and that's about it. Yeah, but they're all segregated. There's plenty of them. Lots of South Americans up here, but they seem to want to are more willing to work, more ambitious. It just depends on what type of situation they come from, I guess, and what they're here for. It seems like some of them are here, basically as economic migrants, but some of them also seem to be paid to be here by governments for who knows what, but an entire platoon basically of Nigerians came out of that building. Not a woman, not a child, nobody, just military-aged men in their 20s and 30s.
Mhm.
Do you think that then this is the next question, and it's probably good for Germany and all of us anyway? Do you think they're shipping these aged men, military-aged men in and giving them money on purpose to start that civil war they've been talking about?
Absolutely, they're
Yeah,
training them they're training them in the UK.
Really?
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past
Yeah.
them. I
No,
wouldn't put it past them.
there have been whistleblowers already. They're training these people. These men are just following orders and training up these people from Africa and Sudan and all the other places, and they're shipping them here.
Yeah,
They are giving them military training and shipping them here. They're UN troops.
Yeah, the fact that it's all men, that's the suspicious part. If there were like families coming in, then I would look at it differently then. But yeah, I agree with Max totally.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, they get training from the UK. Apparently, they take them to the UK, France, and train them there.
Yeah, because they keep talking about this civil war. I'm thinking, who's fighting this? I don't want to fight against my neighbor. I don't want to fight against these guy across the street or what is it going to be? The Democrats against the Republicans? That don't make any sense.
No,
I mean,
think about the H5N1, right?
Yep.
The police in Canada refused to do stop and search during the lockdown. So what do? You have to get somebody else in to do it.
Yep.
And how much further can you push it with foreign troops who don't speak the language and don't give a damn what you say?
Sure, they don't even speak the language. You go here, do what I say or I shoot you, right? They don't care.
Yep.
You're wrong. Not my color. You're not my kinman, so whatever. I guess.
Yep.
Oh boy. Yeah, I guess so. Boy, it's kind of scary when you really think about it.
Yeah.
It's kind of scary, man. I guess Richard's right, or Off the Hook's right. Sleep with one eye open. Yes, and be prepared for whatever's coming because, those men, they're everywhere. Not just your city, Max, but they're in Germany. They're in Massachusetts. They're in my state. They're in California. They're in Texas. They're everywhere. They're just hiding out till the right day.
Yep.
But again, like I said, don't make yourself a target, right? Just be the kind of person that they don't want to like attack or whatever or have anything to do with because they're not going to get anywhere.
Yeah, just be where they aren't.
Well, yeah. Also, you can't really be thinking about just this all the time, because the possibility of something like this happening, it's somewhere off in the future, but it's probably not an immediate danger. It's probably just like a backup plan that the elites have, or I don't know. To focus too much on it would be paranoia, and that's counterproductive.
No, you can only deal with it when it happens.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
Yeah.
try to raise awareness about it.
Hmm.
Like we do.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep. Nina says this October is going to be interesting. What about distractions? They will release this just in time for election time. That's right.
Well, I got a book. It's class time.
Okay. Well,
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks, Max, for dropping in. We're going to be signing off here in a little bit, too.
Right.
And we'll get over there. And everybody, I encourage you to go on over there and do a little work with your mind and do a little remote viewing, because you got to exercise that brain muscle just as much as you got to exercise any of your physical muscles. Is that not right?
Yep.
Hmm.
Absolutely. All right.
Okay.
Much love. Talk to you later.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Well, guys, let's wrap her up here. Lucky, what do you got to say all this? You were the star of the show tonight with 2 clips out of your good wisdom. And remember, everybody, go over there and subscribe to Lucky's channel. Got a lot of good stuff on there. I kind of enjoy every now and then you get those. I just like to hear the good wisdom that comes out of that.
I don't know. Life is an adventure, good or bad. It's just enjoy it. That's how a lot of the stuff is just stuff happens and you just got to make the best of it. And I mean, was it trust everyone but shuffle the cards yourself sort of thing? I'm not too afraid of the future, but I also am a bit of a prepper myself. So I do have food stored up, but but again, there's not much
Goes
I can
without
do about it.
saying.
Yeah, it just do what you can and don't be too. Fear is the biggest problem, though. Be prepared, but don't let fear get to you too much, because fear will just ruin everything. We don't need fear. You just need be prepared what you can, and then try to make the best of it.
Hmm.
I agree.
Yeah, I would say, I totally agree with Lucky. Life is an adventure, and the difference between something that happens to you that's good and something that's evil is just the level of difficulty in dealing with it, right? Some things are extraordinarily difficult, some things are extraordinarily easy. But it's the things that you overcome that are difficult that are most satisfying in the end, right? Once you defeat them, if you defeat them.
Yep.
And that sense of accomplishment is what makes life more worthwhile, worth living.
Yeah. Life worth living. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to live for the moment too, and don't worry about it. Try not to be naive. Being good is great, but I tend to be so good that I'm naive about bad things, because I trust, people sometimes too much, and they take advantage of me a lot, and of my goodness and my trust, and when I should kind of be more wary. And maybe that's I've learned a few lessons that way, but I always tell myself, well, I'll give this person a chance. I always give somebody and sometimes it comes to bite me in the ass, I don't know. But yeah. But anyway, great knowledge. Something everybody think about it. Remember, go out and get yourself a shirt. Comes a nice little package like that with my smiling face on there. You gotta love it. Look at that. That's a good shirt. Thank you, Nina, for making up these shirts. And support the Soul Tribe by going over there to Nina's merch and purchasing a Milky Way Soul Tribe shirt with my smiling face. And there's mugs over there too. I love it. Anyway, and go out, buy yourself one for your neighbor or yourself or a friend. Makes a great Christmas gift, because I know I'm buying one for a Christmas gift. Anyway, I gave a few out already. And remember, join Nina on her show tomorrow night. I forget who she's having on here. She had it in the thing and I can't remember. Tomorrow night with Chris Matthews. That's who's coming on. Chris Matthews. Join her tomorrow night. I will not be on there. Chris Matthews will be on. And join her tomorrow night on Sunday Live. So, anyway, with all of that, go out, do something nice for yourself. Go into these shirts and wear my smiling face on your chest. and do something nice for your neighbor. It's all about being good. Watch some of Lucky's videos, and that'll improve your life too. If you just want something calm, watch the train go by. That's even fun too.
Mhm.
With that, everybody, thanks so much for joining us tonight. We love you all. Don't forget to be the frequency you want to receive, everybody. Love you all. Peace, everybody. And I think there we